We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Governor DeSantis' veto of LGBTQ plus arts grants shocked us, but now Wilton Manors Public Safety Project funding veto sparks statewide controversy and concern.
GMCSF Pride Then, Now, and Forever celebrated LGBTQ plus history with iconic anthems and new original pieces, including Don't Say Gay.
A report leak feeds more speculation in favor of Buttigieg as a potential presidential candidate after Biden's debate fallout. But it is that easy to replace Biden?
Dr. Jenna Brownfield stresses ongoing LGBTQ plus support and recognition beyond Pride Month celebrations, especially in the election year we're witnessing.
SAGE highlights LGBTQ plus elders' struggles with caregiving from aging friends, healthcare bias, and discrimination in housing.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views, thanks to you. It is Monday, July 8th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV and AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
That's right, Dale. And let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's begin with the woman herself, my sister from another mister, Adrianna Tender. She's the program coordinator with Trans Inclusive Group and owner of Tender Love and Care Trans Mentoring. She serves on the National Board of Governors of the Human Rights Campaign and is vice president, call her Kamala, of the Dolphin Democrats, and on the board of Black LGBTQ Liberation. Adrianna, Trans Inclusive Group, second Thursdays. Voting Rights Edition is on July 11th. Tell me what's happening.
So, the Human Rights Campaign, along with Voting is Local and TIG and several other community partners, is having a listen session for our transgender and non-binary community. So what we're doing is we're going to educate the trans and non-binary community on what's going on and voting, and we're also going to see what does the community need. Do they need to have people register for mail-in ballots? Do they need ways to the poll? Those are the conversations that we'll be having.
And those are important conversations. We have to get the people to the polls however possible, you know? So if someone needs a ride or whatever it is, there's something like this is somewhere that you should go and get the information needed, especially in this election year.
And we'll also be having an organization there that's going to be able to help people with their IDs and stuff. You know, that's very important. You know, a lot of trans people don't necessarily have the identification to what, you know, they would prefer to be called. So we're going to have an organization there that's going to be able to help assist with paying for that as well. Yeah. If you need your gender marker change or if you need your name changed on your license.
Okay, Trans Inclusive Group, second Thursdays, Voting Rights Edition, July 11th. Get all the information online and be there. Next up, let's welcome Edward Otto. I always mess up your name, Edward, every single time.
Yeah,
like we're here how many different times and I'm like, ugh, sorry. All right. Let's welcome Otto Zielke. There it is. From a successful career in financial marketing to his current role as the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, Edward's journey is marked by accolades and achievements. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida is one of the largest and most important LGBTQ plus cultural arts organizations. So Edward, Greater Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce July Mixer is coming up July 16th at the Bahia Mar, Fort Lauderdale. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, so it's the Chamber of Commerce in Greater Fort Lauderdale usually does a once a month mixer. This month it's at the Bahia Mar. And, I remember when I first arrived in Fort Lauderdale area and I was trying to find work, these networking groups are so important to our community because you get to network with business people that are mostly in the LGBTQ plus community, allies. You see companies and you see brands there. So it's a good way to start, getting to know, who are the people that you may want to work with. So I always enjoy a good mixer now and then.
For sure. So sign up for the mixer and bring your business cards. Do people still have business cards? No, people just go, here's my phone, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Next up, let's welcome anchor Jamaal Starks, aka Porcelain. Look at that skin, baby. Flawless. Jamaal is the president of Impulse Group Miami, a spiritualist, a wellness advocate, a coach, and he also walks as sex siren in the ballroom scene with the House of Gorgeous Gucci. He's a board member of the Legacy Builders Consultant Group and is a certified yoga instructor at the Miami Life Center in Wynwood. Shout out to Miami Life Center. Love you guys. Jamaal, so you present Sensual Vinyasa Flow. I love that.
Yeah.
Sensual Vinyasa Flow. Every Saturday at Miami Life Center. Tell me what's happening.
11:30 a.m. Get up and come see me at the Miami Life Center. A lot of people have been asking me to do, when is your yoga class going to start? Well, they're here. And I will be adding more to the roster, but every Saturday right now, 11:30, it's a sensual flow, so you don't have to be advanced. This is all about getting into your body. Being fluid with your body, connecting breath to movement, and also just being at peace. I also end off with a lovely cosmic sound bowl. You can see me and my bowls right there. My rainbow collection, very gay.
Your ball.
Listen, but incredible. So sign up today for this yoga class at Miami Life Center because if you look at the videos on Porcelain's IG, it was wall-to-wall people. So people are going to be signing up early. So make sure that you get on out there. 11:30, that's wonderful. That's a good time. Somebody told me to go do yoga at 7:30 in the morning. You crazy. Ain't no yoga going to be had by this lesbian at 7:30 in the morning. 11:30, yes, I've already had 2 coffees. I'm ready to go.
Or just think 11 a.m. That's what I've been telling everybody. Think 11 and then, you'll get there on time.
I love it.
It is Miami after all.
It is Miami. Latin people time. Next up, let's welcome my brother. His name is Dale Stine. He's a celebrated photographer in the LGBTQ plus community. He's the director of music ministry at the famous Unity on the Bay and a moderator of Miami Gay List, one of South Florida's largest LGBTQ plus Facebook groups, which can also be found on IG as @QueerListOfficial. So Dale, Seminole Theater Players is bringing Grease the Musical, which will run from July 19th through the 28th. Your friend Daniel is playing in it, right? Tell me what's happening.
Daniel Marceau is playing Danny in Grease.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty perfect. Yeah, and he's, he took a little leave of absence kind of in away from performing because he's married to a man and they have 4-year-old twins. Mm-hmm. So he's been kind of preoccupied. And he's also one of our guest artists at my Unity on the Bay. And he's just a fantastic person. Now, he's so, he's become kind of an activist also for his grandmother because she has Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. So he's really kind of just out there in so many different ways. But I think it's also great to support someone in the community who's a gay married man with children.
Yeah.
And we're going, and it's Seminole, it's far south, it's Homestead. So it's going to be a little of a road trip, but check it out online.
Listen, me and Dale are going and we can't wait. We're going to go watch Grease. Grease is one of those all-time loves. For anybody who loves musicals, you remember Grease as one of the first ones that your heart felt that music go inside you, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So I'll travel to Homestead, I'll stamp my passport, and I'll support. Right? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events hostess, host and hostess, television and radio personality, and the host of the FayWhat show on Mondays at Hotspots happening now. Faye, Broadway Brunch, a concert benefiting Julian's Fountain of Youth, will take place on July 14th. Tell me what's happening.
Yes, so Broadway Brunch, a concert benefiting Julian's Fountain of Youth, will take place at 1414 on 26, located at 1414 Northeast 26th Street, Fort Lauderdale. Doors open 1 p.m. and the concert starts at 2. The concert will end around 3:30. Broadway Brunch will feature the talents of Christopher Calhoun, Heidi Salonia, and Jamie Maddox. Christopher Calhoun appears courtesy of Actors Equity Association. This will be his last concert in Florida prior to moving to New York City this fall. Okay, this concert is going to be having the biggest songs on Broadway, led by the direction of Cheryl Barth. The show celebrates the work of Julian's Fountain of Youth while noting the importance of the arts and LGBTQ plus culture, especially right now. The arts is so important. All monies raised will go back to Julian's Fountain of Youth, ensuring this very important organization is able to continue its work, enriching, empowering, and educating LGBTQ plus youth, okay? Tickets are available at eventbrite.com/Broadway Brunch tickets. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, July 8th, 2024. First this evening, let's begin by queering up South Florida and Florida. DeSantis vetoes security upgrades for Wilton Manors. Community asks if another don't say gay. Governor Ron DeSantis' recent budget vetoes have stirred controversy and concern across Florida, particularly in the arts and culture sectors. The governor's decision to veto over $32 million in grants affecting hundreds of organizations statewide has drawn criticism for its potential economic and cultural impact. Across Florida, organizations like the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, Master Chorale, and Island City Stage face uncertain futures due to these cuts. DeSantis defended his actions by citing concerns over content in some arts programs, labeling them as sexual, ignoring their diverse and educational purposes. However, it is not going to end there. This week's Wilton Manor City Commission meeting revealed that the governor line item vetoed security monies for the city as well. Funding was for the Transparency and Public Safety Project. It was designed for cameras and installation of surveillance in public areas. It included other security enhancements that were believed important for a largely LGBTQ plus community like ours. These funds were already approved by the GOP supermajority in Tallahassee. Apparently, that was not good enough for the governor. This week, Orlando Sentinel Scott Maxwell explains DeSantis' actions related to LGBTQ+ are because he sees sexual boogeymen everywhere he looks. Apparently, that includes the safety and streets in Wilton Manors as well. Where do we begin with DeSantis? DeSantis vetoed $32 million because a fraction went to fringe festivals, offbeat shows that include adult content and drag performances. That is his reasoning for taking away $32 million from all these arts and cultural organizations, nonprofit organizations, many also as well, that represent our community, that our community goes to for solace, that our community goes to for entertainment. And he says it basically because, as a big umbrella. Oh no, because some of the content is not good. I'm just going to take away all this money from all these organizations that truly need it. A lot of these organizations have lost 75 to 80% of their annual budget with just losing this money that he vetoed. This is going to affect us greatly. I mean, greatly. And I know we've been talking about this it's been 2 weeks, right, Edward, since this happened?
It's, about like 2 weeks now, for our organization. Now we're trying to scramble and figure out ways to, fill in that gap that, we lost $43,000.
$43,000. Wow. What percentage of that is your budget?
I mean, it's just a fraction, to be quite honest.
But it's a lot of money.
Because it goes to general support and operations and stuff. And, it pays my salary. It pays a lot of, our other salaries and Gabe's and stuff. So, it does put a hole in it. So, we're a very creative bunch too. We just came out of our concert and everything. And so we had this wonderful artwork that's being displayed by Avi Ram.
Yes.
And so we're going to be auctioning that off. So we just started the auction. And so we're going to see what the pieces sell. And we're just going to start from there. So we're in our 15th season now. So, we're at the beginning. So we're just going to figure out how to make that up.
But that's awesome that you came up with that idea, because I mean, other other nonprofits are really effed. I mean, like to the point where some might have to close their doors, Edward.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, we're fortunate that we had that idea. And that's the thing, is sometimes you have to think outside the box too. So I'm hoping that all the other LGBTQ plus nonprofits that are in the arts, that can find those type of ways. And, and we're a very creative bunch here in Wilton, Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Broward, South Florida area, so we figure out ways to get the money.
And this, and then further in this story being about removing funds for security.
Yes.
I mean, that's like, wow, that's just mean, cruel, and evil.
Yeah.
And I have always thought about Miss DeSantis, Miss Rhonda, that since day one, the lady doth protest too much. I really think my gaydar's off with him. So, I mean, that may be just it's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, but he's coming for us and you feel it.
Yeah, it's like, why so hard at this entire community, if not some underlying issue?
There's an internalized issue there.
Exactly.
But also, this just speaks to what we went through, 3 or 4 years ago with Don't Say Gay proposition. And we're seeing Florida being the testing ground for other states to then take this and implement the same. Project 2025 is something that's very real. And Florida, I really do believe that in 2020, Florida was the testing ground for these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of religious or America for the American, conservative Americans, black, white, or other are for these types of things. It's really sad to see that the needle is being pushed back so aggressively, and now we're hitting home, like the pockets, the money, the support, the resources, the things that we need.
Our security, Jamaal.
Like our security.
If you go anywhere in Fort Lauderdale, Oakland Park, West Palm, or even down south in Miami, cameras are everywhere, right? Cameras watch everything that you do.
Yeah.
But in Wilton Manors, our safety is not important enough to do the same?
Right.
It's like he almost forgot that he's not supposed to protect the gay community. It's like, hey, you're here to protect everyone.
Right.
Not just the straight people.
We're all constituents.
And that drives me crazy. When I think about what you were saying, I attend FIU, and one of our women and gender studies classes was dropped due to that. Also, one of the grants that I work under from the health department and some other things were dropped because of DEI issues. And I just think that sometimes people don't know and don't understand how that really affects people.
Sure.
Yeah.
It becomes very
just because of
personal.
your
It becomes
biases.
personal.
Because of your biases,
Right.
But I mean, you're not looking at the bigger picture. How many people does trans-inclusive help? Many. And you won't be able to with less funds. You just can't. It's just impossible to.
And like he said, you have to get creative.
You got to get creative.
You have to get creative. And that's the one thing I can say about our executive director and deputy director. They have definitely gotten creative.
Tatiana and Nick are some creative mother effers, okay? So trust, I'm not worried about that there. But still, their jobs are already hard enough. Your job is already hard enough. And now you're going to put fundraising, which is probably the hardest thing to do, on top of your plate as well.
Extra energy that we don't need to expend, or that we need to be pouring back into our own community. And what people don't really understand is that legislation like this not only hurts us, but it hurts them as well. These things hurt other people. Transphobia, homophobia, all of these things are hurting humanity as a whole. So we all suffer when these things come down the pipeline, because you don't know, you could be next.
Right.
It's true. Listen, there have been 2 encounters that I've had in Wilton Manors, the safest place for me. I feel safe there. Right. But I was doing an interview, and I think that the person thought I was trans. It's happened in the past. No biggie. And the person tried to attack me, and we had to call the cops and everything. And I'm fine. It doesn't make me not go back to Wilton. Right. This is part of something that we deal with all the freaking time in our community. Right. We're marginalized. It's what freaking happens. But if there were security cameras, maybe that person could have been caught, right? Or if there were security, you know what I mean? It's just, and just like both of you said, you're not only protecting LGBTQ+, we have a lot of straight people who also spend their hard-earned money in Wilton and spend their time with us, Is their safety also in jeopardy? Yes.
Of course. I mean, it's a tourism, problem too, I mean, all the businesses will definitely, suffer from this as well. It's just a ripple effect. Well, anyway, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. GMCSF's commissioned song, Don't Say Gay, which becomes Florida's protest anthem against hate. The world, America, and South Florida have finished another celebration of June Pride Month. Here in Fort Lauderdale, it was marked with the largest Stonewall Pride Parade and celebration in history. Stonewall National Museum made history by reenacting the riots at New York's Stonewall Inn on June 28, 1969, complete with police involvement from 6 South Florida police departments. But one of the most interesting commemorations was done on Saturday, June 29th at the Parker with the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida's concert, Pride Then, Now, and Forever. Very notable of this year's GMCSF concert was a celebration of anthems for the queer community like It's Raining Men, Dancing Queen, Heather Small's Proud, and Cher's Believe, but that was not what stopped the show. It was 2 original world premieres written for GMCSF. The first was titled We've Come Through the Storm, written by Tom Nichols and composer Dan Chadburn, both based in Fort Lauderdale. The storm emotionally recalls what the LGBTQ+ community has faced, especially from Florida in recent years. And speaking of what the queer community has faced, it was also a world premiere performance where Florida and Governor Ron DeSantis literally changed the world's language. His actions created the phrase, Don't Say Gay. Los Angeles-based composer, singer, and choral arranger Dave Volpe accepted that challenge, and GMCSF premiered an energetic and fun poke at the governor's eye over Don't Say Gay. The over-the-top performance plays with the intent beyond those words, trying to push us back into the closet, to play with Don't Say Drag, to attack our queer culture, to play with Don't Say They, to raise an eyebrow on the legislative attacks on the queer community. This historic moment was funny, emotional, ironic, and a highlight of the June Pride Month 2024. Watch what happens when you don't say gay.
That was so good.
I'm so proud of them. That was a great bootleg version.
Oh my God, no, but it made me feel like I was there.
I'll tell you, it's so wonderful to see that come to life. We were talking about it last year and, really trying to figure out, how do you take the message of what's going on here in this state and, put it to music and into art. And so we reached out to that composer, Dave Volpe, and, this is what he came up with. So, and it's so great that we get to, try these pieces here, and actually we're getting on a plane tomorrow going to Minneapolis and also performing these 2 songs out there as well.
The full chorus or part of it?
About 100 of us are going to be there. So yeah, a lot of us. So it's going to be very
exciting.
And
where are you performing in Minnesota, you said?
In Minneapolis.
Minneapolis,
yes.
yeah.
So for Gala choruses, they have every 4 years their
Right,
festival.
yes, of
and
course,
so,
right. We've done it here in Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
Miami,
so, but yeah, I'm just so happy with them. I'm so thrilled, and it's so good that we get to showcase, LGBTQ plus composers, that's another, staple in there for us.
Yeah.
So it's so important that these are the type of people that, that are working with us, and we're so blessed.
And the freaking talent.
Yeah.
My God, Gabe, if I could just have the talent that he has on his pinky nail, man, I would be.
He's so wonderful because,
I would be messing shit up.
It takes a good, strong personality to really, wrangle in 180 people on a stage.
And especially 180 queens.
Yeah. But it's 180 LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a whole completely different thing,
Exactly.
Now, I love to watch when choruses go viral. Right?
Yeah.
So a chorus will always go viral because there's always one really weird woman that is just dancing, or she's got the glasses on, or she's just extra, right? Where everybody else is like standing still and she's the one, like, where all the gays are like, she could be part of my group, right? Like, now for this group, everybody's freaking fabulous. So you really can't stop looking at one person because it's like, damn.
It's so true because everybody brings their own personality and you see it right on the stage. And when you look at it, like I always say this, it looks like a mosaic. It's just like the different colors, the different expressions, the different genders, everything. And it's just so wonderful that we have this,
180 divas.
Right.
Plus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and no one knows more about conducting 180 divas than Dale Stine.
Well, I haven't had that many in my. I wish I had. I know about conducting, and I know about conducting divas. So that's a big undertaking. But it's also it's so important politically.
Yes.
To be making this statement in this moment in time based on what we're going through.
Yeah.
So and to come from Florida with the statement is even more powerful because of our governor and the house, everything we have here.
Yeah.
And the fact that these other choruses that are going to hear it in Minneapolis, they're very excited to hear it too, because a lot of people then will want to do this too. So, it's blanketed throughout all of the states. You can perform this anywhere. So it's going to be really
And it will have a ripple effect because then it will go out to the rest of the country.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
I wish that they would take this, like the Republican Party uses Florida and goes to these other states and uses our legislation. I wish they would take this and run with that.
That's what we're hoping. That's exactly what we're hoping for.
Well, we love it. We love it. Folks at home, if you want to watch it again, it's going to be on YouTube, all right? So just watch it as many times as you want, and you could pick your favorite singer.
And click the thumbs up button.
Yes, true. Thank you.
Next, let's clear up politics. Social media speculates on Pete Buttigieg as Biden replacement amid his debate fallout. Amidst discussions sparked by President Joe Biden's recent debate performance against former President Donald Trump, social media has erupted with speculation about a potential replacement candidate, with Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg emerging as a prominent figure in these conversations. A secret potential candidate list was leaked this week. While President Biden has affirmed his commitment to remaining in the presidential race despite criticism of his debate performance, online discourse has turned to Buttigieg as a viable alternative. Political observer Armand Demiluski recently shared data suggesting Buttigieg's strong performance in crucial swing states, outshining other Democratic contenders like Vice President Harris, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. This data, reportedly leaked from Future Forward's research arm, Open Labs, has ignited further speculation about Buttigieg's potential electoral appeal. However, commentators have also raised considerations about Buttigieg's ability to galvanize support across key demographics, particularly Black voters who were pivotal in the 2020 primaries. Despite Buttigieg's articulate and strategic debating style, questions remain about his broad electability, the practicality of replacing Biden, who has secured a substantial number of delegates in the 2024 Democratic primary, pose significant challenges. Moreover, the potential implications of bypassing Vice President Biden's in the line of succession could provoke a backlash from women and Black voters, who are essential constituencies for Democratic victory in the upcoming election. I don't know. I watched the debate on YouTube later on, and there were times that I was cringing. But even with me cringing, I don't think the discussion should now be like, let's replace Biden. I believe that everyone has a bad night. Yeah. And I think that's simply what he has. And then just think about it. A few months before the election, now we're talking about changing someone to someone else. Like, there's no way that we could get everyone to even support Buttigieg at this particular gesture. Yeah. That would be ridiculous.
You know, talk about fair weather friends, right? We're already like, how can we replace him? You know, Pete Buttigieg is amazing, right? He's a great father. He's a great representation. You know, Director of Transportation, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Your representation matters because we're represented up there, right? I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's there yet to run our country. Just my own personal opinion, right? As much as I would love it. Gavin Newsom, what the hell, man? You gotta run. Okay, that's what that's what I'm gonna think. The debate was painful to watch, right?
Yeah, I only watched for it.
I was in Medellin, okay, in the world of just beautiful springtime, and I was watching this, and it was hard to watch, right? It was hard to watch. I have hosted many things, and I have messed up on stages, and I have messed up on speeches, and you know, we've all messed up during our stories and stuff like that. We all have a bad day, and that's exactly it's supporting in what Adrianna said. Biden had a bad day, all right, and Trump wasn't even fact checked on anything that he had said. He was just spewing out nonsense, and people were just taking it as fact, right? That whole debate was a debacle, was what it was, you know, and that should not be the reasoning for us to just say we're going to replace Biden. We don't have the time to. Anyway, It can't happen right now.
Yeah, and the all that and more. But Biden, that's a whole topic of conversation, of course, right? Biden and what he went through and blah, 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 blah. I mean, Buttigieg I met recently because I photographed a fundraiser. And, you know, he is just so, I mean, I've thought since I first heard him, he's so eloquent. He's so just spontaneous and heartfelt and passionate. I think he's just amazing. And I think he will one day make an amazing president. I don't know if he's not there yet, but I don't think the country's there yet for him.
True.
Because if they're not ready for a woman, which has been difficult as we've seen, how are they going to be ready for a gay man? I mean, so, and I think also to the point that was in the story, to just gloss over Kamala Harris is just shady AF.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And just, it's hard. It's really bad. It's just bad.
Yeah. Take a breath. Take a breath.
This is the juncture where I believe Democrats got to play dirty. It's time to stop going with this moral compass. It's time to play dirty. Republicans play dirty because they can. They're like, we're here.
They can't win otherwise.
It doesn't matter. They play the way they play hardball, and Democrats always have this sort of, and you know, I'm not a really two-tier party system person. I don't really like the election process for many reasons. It's unfair to marginalized communities, especially Black and brown folks. It's unfair, period. But we find ourselves at a place where we have to make smart decisions at this point because of the optics.
Correct.
So, I just had a conversation about this on the beach, where someone brought up the point that it is the optics right now. We have a lot of patriarchal, machismo, ego-driven men in this country who are backed by cis women who love the way Trump performed, despite the fact that CNN dropped the ball on their journalistic duties of fact-checking. I was like, how do you allow, how do you moderate, how do you moderate
Moderator was a mess.
and allow these things to just continue and go on? But he was present enough to lie. And that's all people saw. He was in his right mind to lie. And when people look around at their lives, they're like, I can't give up my finances. I can't give up if the American economy they want someone strong driving them. It's just the optics. It's just the way it is. And so I dare to say that it's also homoerotic how people go up for Trump. Men, especially cis white men.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it.
With their flags and their trucks
and those who are white passing, who their proximity to whiteness, that they go up for this. It's horrible. The man is stupid. The man is vile.
He's
a bully.
Yeah.
He told us to put bleach on inside of us to get rid of COVID.
That's it's really it's beyond annoying, because those of us who lived in New York knew Trump when he first came onto the scene, and so he's just been vile from day one. So that's what's really frustrating in the media, is how they're playing up so much of Biden's lack of performance.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been talk about the other one's lies, but not to the extent that there's been the talk and this calling. Why aren't they calling for the felon to drop out?
Yeah.
I mean, I see both sides. I mean, I was listening to an NPR interview with somebody, and they were saying Kamala should be in. They shouldn't make her do it. And I felt myself get excited about it. I mean, because I'm just listening to the interview. I'm like, I could get really excited about that.
I have some feelings about that, about sacrificing the black woman. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Every time we come to an election, the black and brown population, especially women, black women, save America. Yeah. Please save America. Wow. 57% of white women voted for Trump the first time. And there was a sign, a meme that went around of a black woman holding it up at the women's rights, was like 50% of these women voted this man in because of the proximity to power. And so every time we come to this juncture, it's save us, black people, save us. Y'all got to go vote. You got to turn out, like we have at the end of this story, which is if we bypass Kamala, then there's be a backlash from women and black people. But black people and black women are always the saving grace, always the moral compass when you look at the statistics of voting. Every single election, down to the community elections, black women are always the moral compass.
That's why Biden is in office now.
That's why he's in office now.
So you don't think that
I don't want you to sacrifice Kamala unless she wants to.
Yes.
Unless she is fully wants to.
Unless she's fully in.
But just to
put her.
She's the next in line?
Yeah.
That really
Adrianna,
bothers
what do you think? I always play around calling you Kamala Harris because you remind me of Kamala Harris, right? And also I have a crush on you and I have a crush on you, so all of that. Anyway, but tell me what you think about that. You don't think it's sacrificing a black woman by doing that?
I don't necessarily feel that way because she's the vice president of the United States and that's her job. If he was to die or something he was to be incapacitated, that's her job. That's her duty. She's supposed to be president. So I feel if anyone out there is going to step up and be the president or run for the president, it should be Kamala. It should be her.
I'm here for us going back in the playbook and playing dirty. Throw Obama on there if you want to go there. Throw Hillary on there. Go there. Really go back.
But we can't because But I wish we could. How can they?
Michelle wouldn't run. Michelle Obama.
No, Michelle wouldn't.
Michelle wouldn't, but Obama can.
Imagine Kamala Harris and then VP Michelle Obama.
Oh my God!
I thought after 2 terms you were ineligible.
No, after you can do another term. You
After
can-
two,
you-
after
you just
two,
have
you
to
do
have,
two.
You have to have
rest,
one that you
You
did.
have to have a moment.
You have to have a moment. That's it.
Edward, how
So
do
let's
you
go
feel
in our
about
playbook.
Let's go
how
one
do you
by
feel?
one.
How do you feel about Edward? I mean, how do you feel about
I would
Edward?
love that.
Did you see the debate?
Unfortunately, I didn't. So I mean, I did watch it on YouTube later on and stuff, and so it was very cringy. Sometimes hearing him stumble and stuff, but it speaks to his obviously he's very competent, and he's had a lot of issues growing up, with stutters and stuff. So there's a lot of factors. One bad performance, yes, obviously you can't judge by one person, but it does make sense. We're in unprecedented times now. Look, this is what we're with, and so I think that the succession is that if the president can't fulfill his duties, it goes to the vice president, and that's just the law that it is right now. I think we're very fortunate to have Kamala Harris behind him, and I think that she's been working extremely hard behind the scenes. I don't think we see her as visible as we've normally have, but I think she's a worker, and so I think that she would definitely bring Trump to his knees. I really think she would definitely be, hold her own in a debate. I think she's very well
And she
educated.
has. Yeah.
And I think that, I would love to see it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very passionate topic.
Yes. Yes. Gavin Newsom, I'm looking for you. All right, Jamaal, what's next?
Hakeem Jeffries.
Next, let's queer up health. Therapist advocates year-round pride recognition amid this year's election. Dr. Jenna Brownfield, a Minneapolis therapist and member of the LGBTQ plus community, emphasizes the importance of recognizing pride long after June ends. She knows firsthand that the journey to acceptance can be tough, but ultimately rewarding. She suggests, open quote, have realistic optimism and hope for your LGBTQ loved ones instead of just veering into maybe some toxic positivity, end quote. She highlighted the importance of acknowledging the challenges LGBTQ plus individuals face, especially in 2024. She observes that during every 4-year election cycle or when LGBTQ plus identities are politicized, the volume of anti-LGBTQ plus signs and rhetoric increases. Hence, she believes that increasing the support and affirmation for the community through signs and words can make a significant impact. For those who came out during Pride Month, Brownfield advises ongoing support and says, open quote, let them call the shots on what makes sense for them, end quote. Brownfield encourages everyone to celebrate their true selves year-round. She encourages community members to celebrate their true selves anytime and every time they want to. She adds, open quote, that doesn't have to only be during Pride Month. End quote. With the 2024 election just months away, queer mental health should be a front and center issue for our community. And I so agree with you, Ms. Brownfield. The same way that I say I'm 365 days Black is the same way I say I'm 365 days gay, because I wake up this way in full authenticity. And I believe that it is hella important for us to really, I said this before, really redefine community, and really redefine what it is that LGBTQ plus means as a community, not just a flag, not just a pride parade. We know this as the activists we are and advocates we are, but out to the community, just let's get more intentional about our community and what it means to be community and what it means to actually have pride and really live our true authentic selves, because that is the gateway to healthy mental stability.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Dale, I'm going to ask you, toxic positivity. So it could be a bad thing. Okay, we go to Unity in the Bay. Okay,
yeah, that's also known as spiritual bypassing. When you just make everything hunky-dory and just pretend that everything's great, and it's not. It never is. Everything is not always great. So bypassing all that seeming negativity, which is not, it's just a part of the piece of the pie of who you are. Embracing your fears, embracing your negativity, embracing all the things that frighten you will give you strength. Embracing your vulnerability is power.
Yeah. And it's power just knowing that everything isn't okay, like you said, but maybe if we come together, redefining what community is, then maybe we will be okay in the future.
And not feel alone, because that's where community is. You want to not feel alone. Yeah. To know that that there's someone on the other end of the device, the phone or the
affirming you. Yeah. Affirming. It's affirming to see, just like with Black people, when we see each other, we affirm one another. And that's how you know kinfolk, when you affirm one another. And as an LGBTQ plus community, affirming one another is very valuable to your mental health. It is a very important piece, because when you're interacting with the mainstream society and you're out and about and you're navigating, I always say microaggressions are not micro. They're macro, because they have an impact on the mental. They have an impact on the subconscious. They have an impact, and that's why a lot of people turn to escapism and drugs and things of that nature. But when we really solidify ourselves, we get to start cleaning up and healing some of those things, because you're starting to affirm other people to let them know that you're not going through this alone. Yeah. There's strength in numbers. There's strength in the people.
And that's why it's also important for us to remember, for all community members to remember, that we need to build each other up and stand up for each other, because there is so much we know in all the communities all across the LGBTQ plus spectrum of tearing people down within the community. And that is doubly destructive, because it's breaking down a person, it's tearing down a person, and then it's tearing down the community. So you're not building brick by brick, you're tearing down. So there's a lot of give and take, but we're aspirational in our current positivity and accepting the toxicity.
And when you think about it, I think about the children and how representation is important, and how the only time a lot of them get to see us being proud of who we are and the companies recognizing us as gay people is during June, And can you imagine if they were able to look out all the time and see people being proud of who they were in the LGBTQ community? It would be okay to be who they are, and let them know that it's okay to be who they are.
Yeah.
Representation matters.
It really does. Definitely. Edward, how does this wash over you?
It's, it resonates because, I think about my own life journey, and, it was based around a lot of fear, and my life experiences, in my early years dictated that. So my thinking and the way I was presenting myself when I was younger, led to a very destructive behaviors that I had to correct. So within the last decade, I would say, for me, it's been a life transformation. And so it's rethinking and realizing that the way I react and the way I converse with people, sometimes it isn't the way I'm always perceiving it, because it's those things that I have to, stifle in the back of my brain and say, that's not real. That's an experience you had in the past. So, we're a resilient community, but we're a broken community, and so sometimes you just have to have a little patience with us broken people.
Right, and that patience is key, and that patience can be key. Because there is some kind of resentment that we have. At least I do, to some people, where June, I work all June, the first day to the last day. I'm doing pride events everywhere. Right, anybody, some little mom and pop cupcake place wants a pride event, get the lesbian, right? And I love that, because that gets to, buy me shoes and stuff, right? But it would be great if it was all year round. You know what I mean? Like, we're queer all year. So it would be great to have that acknowledgement from our allies and our supporters all year, not just on June.
True.
Right.
Dale, what's next, baby?
Well, next, let's queer up social justice. Study reveals being an LGBTQ plus senior is even harder than we thought. According to SAGE, a national advocacy group, LGBTQ plus elder adults face unique challenges, particularly around caregiving, healthcare, and housing. Unlike their heterosexual peers, LGBTQ plus elders are 4 times less likely to have children and twice as likely to age alone. Mitchell Zahn, a coordinator for SAGE in South Florida, highlighted the different caregiving models between LGBTQ plus and heterosexual communities. He noted that LGBTQ plus elders often rely on friends for care, a system that falters as friends age and develop their own health needs. Discrimination in healthcare is a major concern. Approximately 20% of LGBTQ plus individuals avoid medical care due to fear of bias. transgender elders face even greater difficulties with reports of abusive language from health providers and a lack of understanding about transgender care. Morgan Mayfair, Executive Director of TransSocial, has experienced prejudice firsthand and works to train medical professionals on best practices for transgender patients. Housing is another significant hurdle. Nearly half of LGBTQ+ couples face discrimination when seeking senior housing, and many elders feel compelled to hide their identities to be accepted in some communities. Over 60% of LGBTQ+ elder adults report feelings of isolation and lack of companionship. First of all, thanks for giving me the story. and yeah, it is, the older one gets, the more these thoughts, no matter how many people you know and how many people know you, and no matter how much support you have from anything, and no matter how much you think back in the day when you were young, you wouldn't get to that point of thinking that, you know what, you think that.
It still happen.
It happens. And no matter, your elders know things because they're elders. And it just happens. You start thinking about these things. So, people in the heterosexual community think about, how am I going to get by? How am I going to get through? So add to that, compound on that, what we are dealing with as people in the LGBTQ+ community of possible isolation, possible aging alone, all those things. Yeah, the fears, they're there. Yeah. They creep in, and I think it's foolish, and it's using what's the word we just used?
Toxic positivity.
Toxic positivity. It's spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity, to think that it's not.
Yeah.
So then what does one do then to take action and feel supported and make sure that you are going to be okay?
Yeah.
Because and think about it, communities like that are not Miami or that not Wilton Manors, where there are like no gay people. Yeah. What are those people going to do? So it has a big frightening component to it, no question.
It has to. I don't think we take care of our elders like we should.
The community is so, community is so youth oriented. We know that
ageism is real.
The ageism is so real. I remember being a young, beautiful man on the dance floor and seeing an older person, I didn't feel disdain. I just remember looking and thinking, I don't want to be that person doing that to younger people, what that person just did to me. I know, because it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
And so I remember that all the time.
They're trying to erase our history everywhere we go, right? But our history lies with our elders, with our senior LGBTQ+ elders, and I don't think we take care of them like we should. SunServe has a seniors group that they meet here all the time, and I love that. Fellowship is so important, right? I asked Cindy Brown, right? I was like, damn it, Cindy's not here because this is like her specialty, right?
Totally.
So Cindy Brown, anchor here at Queer News Tonight, I love that woman. She is JCS Lambda Living Program Manager, right? And what she said about the story was, I quote, "In general, LGBTQIA older adults don't seek support for physical or mental health as they are concerned about discrimination. They also may not be receiving the benefits for which they're eligible for because of the same reason. Participating in activities with other seniors helps mitigate some of the issues resulting from social isolation and just helping them. Fellowship is where it's at, I think. Edward, what do you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. The Pride Center itself has its own coffee and conversation every Tuesday too for elders and stuff. And it's so important to remain vital and to reach out. Sometimes as I noticed this in myself, I'm in my mid-50s, so I tend to start to isolate a little bit. And so it's important for me to reach out and find and connect with people even now as we're getting older too, because my family is the people that I call family in my life is changing. It's and that's because I'm embracing more people. So but I need all walks of life. I need people that are older than me. I need people that are younger than me, because the young people teach me things. I
bet they do.
But the older too. They have the wisdom to know what we've gone through, and so that's it's so important to acknowledge.
Yeah, I had heard there was I can't remember who it was. It might have been SunServe, where they were putting together people, a senior and a younger person together. What a beautiful element, right. What they could teach each other, right? And it was like the younger person was teaching the older person how to deal with their phone. Something so simple to the younger person, right? But so important for the older person to be able to communicate with people,
In fact, our concert was just based on all of that. It was a celebration of multi-generations. And, in part of our concert, we had different people from all of the different groups, from Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, and just getting people just to talk about what Pride means to them and what what their concerns are. And it was a good message to put out there. To getting people to talk about that. And that's what it's about, is this conversation that we're having.
It's really fascinating for me, because I've always said that I'm really just a teenage girl in an old man's body. So it's just such a mind twist, to know that I've been out of the closet for so many decades.
Adrianna, are you afraid of getting old?
See this moment?
I live.
Of course not. Well, I think about it like this: as a Black trans woman, the life expectancy of a Black trans woman is 35 years old.
Wow.
35 years old. So I'm 49. And I work for an organization called Trans Inclusive Group, and I'm the program coordinator there. And I get calls consistently about housing for everyone. But there are so many calls that I get that are specific to trans people that are older. And it's like, I don't know what that answer is and what needs to happen and what needs to occur to fix that problem. But when you are a Black trans woman and you're triple marginalized, you think about your situation, or your situation whenever it is that you get old. But think about someone like me that's triple marginalized and has to go through these problems and issues.
And do you think the life expectancy is changing? It must be getting, because 35 is so young.
It is.
Listen, women are dying daily. I mean, weekly. We're constantly,
the violence
I haven't. Everything that I've read on it, the life expectancy has still stayed at 35.
Still been 35 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so important to talk about, because that's something I would never know. These are the conversations you need to hear. Because that is the group that desperately we need to be focusing on.
Right. But for the most part, it hasn't affected you, right? Yeah. And that's why it's coming across your table. You need to acknowledge it, right? And most white cisgendered men of your age won't.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Okay, so that right there is huge, to just say what you just said, Edward, because most is like, doesn't affect me, out of sight, out of mind. I'm never going to be a Black trans woman, so I don't care.
I never understood that, because, I'm part of the LGBTQIAS2 plus spectrum, that we call ourselves, and it's like, if I don't embrace the transgender community or the bisexual community, it's like, well, who am I in this, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And that is the idea that I was proposing in the last segment, where I was talking about redefining what it is to be community. Not just the Pride Parade, not just because I saw you at the bar and I gave you a kiss, but also access and actually understanding others' experiences. Each one of us has unique experiences sitting here at this table. This is community. The conversation we're having is community. And it's grounding when it comes back to housing. Like, how are we going to really house and hold space for one another in this community?
For a basic human right, okay? You just want to have somewhere to lay your head.
And eat and wash your ass. And that's everywhere. And that's a
human
huge pillar of mental health as well.
Yeah.
That's a huge pillar of our community, getting healthy, getting
How do you get the job? How do you go to school if you don't have a place to live?
How do you even worry about your health? How do you worry about your health?
Thank you.
If you have nowhere to live.
And also
you have bigger fish to fry. You got to eat that day.
And also the point about the story about being discriminated in the medical in medical care. I have been discriminated against in medical care, and being who I am. And so just knowing that and the things that I have gone through, I've always thought myself to be very fortunate and very blessed to be able to advocate for myself, to have positions and access to certain privileges and resources. But I always go back to, if I was treated that way, then how do you treat everyone else. People who don't have the same, you know, glow and cute and who aren't as porcelain, you know?
Aren't as shine, you know? You could be an older senior going through some stuff and you won't ask the questions, or you're treated in a certain way where you'll be afraid to talk to your practitioner.
Defeated. You feel completely defeated.
It's about us being intentional. That's what it is. People have to be intentional. Just like how you said, oh, I didn't know about this. Now you know. It's like, okay, well, how can I help? What can I do? How can I assist? Help fix the problem.
Yeah.
And that's how we start.
It is.
That's how we start. Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale invites you to Cirque du Soleil's Corteo. Visit Lauderdale is known for hosting and inviting exciting programs to ensure the party slays on for everyone visiting Greater Fort Lauderdale. This time it welcomes all musical lovers to Cirque du Soleil Corteo at the Amarant Bank Arena Sunrise, directed by Danielle Finzi Pasca. This unique production has amazed over 10 million spectators in 20 countries across 4 continents since its 2005 premiere. Running from July 11th through July 21st, tickets start at $60.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. SFAA's 30th anniversary gala and Hall of Fame ceremony on July 21st. The South Florida's Amateur Athletic Association, SFAA, South Florida League, is set to celebrate its 30th anniversary gala and Hall of Fame ceremony on Sunday, June 21st. This event promises an afternoon of celebration, reflection, and joy. Attendees will commemorate 3 decades of achievements and look forward to an exciting future together. Additional details on the gala will be revealed soon on SFAAsoftball.com. Join the league in honoring its rich history and the individuals who contributed to its success. I'm sorry, I said June and it was July for that. But I love that we have a gay softball league here. I mean, we have everything. It's so fantastic. And the chorus has sung the national anthem there as well as all of the other sports people that the teams that invite us to play, like the Marlins and stuff. So it's so great to see the representation through sports.
Yeah, we have a couple of anchors that are part of the softball league. Julio Capo Jr. is amazing, right? And
Wow.
and like I guess when they were like in the finals last year, you know, like you could just see him training, you know, and he's like a smart guy, right? And to see that he also plays softball amazing, right? Like, you know, you're thinking that like we're not going to have a great team. Incredible teams play, you know, and they do such a great job. Now, when I think about softball, I think about lesbians, right? So that's why I got excited in the story initially. So I'm all about it.
Right.
Adrianna, what's next, baby?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Here's one way to come out on TV. Hand me a tissue. A Minnesota news anchor feels 100 pounds lighter after coming out as a gay on live TV. In May, Jason Hackett came out as gay on NBC affiliate KARE 11's Sunrise show, where he's worked since January 2023. He says, quote, "A lot has changed in the last 2 months," end quote. Hackett had a message for others who might be struggling. He said, quote, "You're going to make it," end quote. Hackett's co-anchor, Alicia Lewis, commended his courage, as the meteorologist John Ziegler. And so does Queer News Tonight. All the very best to you, Jason Hackett.
And as we wrap up the show, I want to share this with you. This is this month's cover of Lavender magazine. If you're unfamiliar, it's a local LGBTQ-focused magazine published here in Minnesota. So I was asked if I wanted to be on this month's cover and talk about my coming out story. And I put some thought into it and I said, why not? So a big thank you to the staff at Lavender and the Aliveness Project for making this process so amazing. So for people that really know me, my friends, my coworkers, some members of my family, this isn't some huge surprise. I've been living in a glass closet for the most part. But now I wanted to let you out there, the viewers out there that wake up with me every morning, to know a little bit more about me. And coming out to new people is never easy for me. I am so nervous right now, I'm not gonna lie. This is no doubt the most people I've ever come out to at once. But what me and Alicia and John and Cece and everyone here on Sunrise strive for is authenticity. And I can't preach that without being my authentic self. So I want to say a big thank you to KARE 11 for allowing me the space, more than any other station that I've worked at in the past 13 years, to just be me. I'm also thankful for my amazing friends, my partner, my family, and everyone who has supported me along this journey. And for anyone that is watching this now who is struggling to find acceptance or struggling with their family or their friends, take it from me, a gay, black son of immigrants. The road may not be easy. I won't lie to you and say that it is, but don't worry. Keep going. You're going to make it.
I think that this is amazing. People out there, I'm black and I'm trans and I'm coming out.
She was waiting for Pride Month to be over.
Right.
I think it's great, but I really can't wait till there's a time when we don't have to worry about coming out, being gay or being trans. We're just all accepted.
Yeah. And you know, Mr. Hackett just celebrated in his first Pride Parade in Minnesota this past week, and he was posting all about it. And you could just see, you know, he had the Pride colors around his wrist. Like, he just looked so happy. Like, you could just tell that like a big monster got lifted off him. You know, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Congratulations and welcome, baby. And I am a Latina and I'm a lesbian. I just came out.
Don't you feel lifted? I feel lifted now that I came out.
I feel lifted. And that's just not my butt helping thumb. Yeah. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Elphaba star Mary-Kate Morrissey stuns at New York City Pride with Defying Gravity. Mary-Kate Morrissey, Broadway's current Elphaba in Wicked, delivered a stunning rendition of Defying Gravity at New York City Pride. Sporting a Here, Queer, and Wicked tee from Gay Pride Apparel, Morrissey performed for her LGBTQ plus community amid a vibrant procession of queer people and rainbow flags. Known for her role as Janice in Mean Girls on tour, Morrissey, the 25th full-time Elphaba, has donned Elphaba's green for nearly a decade. Her Pride performance was broadcasted on ABC.
I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. gently between two trees, defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. I'm through accepting limits, 'cause someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love, I guess I'm lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost.
All right, so this song is not easy. Let me start off by saying this song is very hard. So stop trying to sing it in karaoke. You can't sing it. It's not for you. Let it go. There, that's a better song. You can probably sing that. You can probably sing that. Defying Gravity is such an intentional song. I love that song. Elphaba finds power through her own outsider status, right? Everybody at this table knows what that feels like. And it's like, I don't know about you, but when I hear Defying Gravity, I always get chills. I always feel every single lyric for some reason or another, because it just screams LGBTQ plus.
Yeah.
So this is just beautiful.
It's breaking through limits, your own limitations, and just really just soaring and being your own person and just being. And it does speak so well to the LGBTQ plus community, that song and that whole score. So it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And just by the way, she's been doing that role for 10 years. Wow.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Right?
That's 8 shows a week. I mean, unless she's not doing the matinees, that's a lot of Defying Gravity.
Right? And that's following in the steps of the great ones like Idina Menzel. I mean, that's not easy. Again, not an easy song. Stop trying to sing it in karaoke. What do you think, Jay?
Well, I shout out to her out there belting in those sneakers in a slip, okay? That's what I was looking at, okay? Mama was the mic was hot, baby. Yeah. She was like, I am in a sneakers and
I'm going to be comfortable.
I am here.
Feel it, okay?
I noticed that too. I was like, oh, okay. I just want to dress up, I guess.
I love it. Jay, what's next, baby?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Queer Alex Newell slays at NBC Macy's 4th with America and Brave. And it was brave. Glee star Alex Newell, who identifies as genderqueer and uses all pronouns, received widespread acclaim on social media for their stellar performance at Macy's 4th of July fireworks show. Newell, also a Tony Award winner, sang Ray Charles' America the Beautiful and Sarah Bareilles' Brave by the Hudson River as 60,000 fireworks illuminated the night sky.
She also won a Tony for show.
That was mesmerizing. That was amazing to have someone who is genderqueer on the main stage in New York City, 4th of July with all the firework display. I think we're all familiar with the firework display in New York, whether it's New Year's Eve or 4th of July. But to have a genderqueer person like Alex Newell, who Faye That's mad.
I have, and I got to introduce her for a community pride event at the Arts Center.
She was amazing.
She is amazing. She's just wonderful. And, you know, again, there's certain moments in straight world that make me happy, right? When a trans woman lit the fire for the Olympic Games, I was like, hell yeah, you know? This is another moment. It's the Macy's freaking fireworks display. It's the biggest fireworks display all in the tri-state area, probably on the East Coast. And it's led by a black, gender non-conforming woman that is killing it. That is how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
That is how you do things. Word? Word.
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 LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up business. Wilton Wings ordered shut over health violations. Everything you need to know. Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation inspectors shut down several eateries last week due to severe sanitation issues, including rodent activity and unclean conditions. Wilton Wings was closed for rodent droppings found in the dry storage areas and on the dish machine, as well as gnaw marks on pasta bags. Live insects were also found in various kitchen areas. After a thorough cleanup and reinspection, Wilton Wings was allowed to reopen. Well, that story, let me just say, first of all, I'm the vegan and I was given that story. That's production shade down. Period.
That's true.
Next.
That's true. You know, it's one of those things that if you put Wilton before it or if you put LGBTQ plus before it, I feel that we've got to be our best that we can, right? Because everybody's trying to always point out the negative things about our community, right? So that's why this alarms me. That's why this makes me sad instead of angry that they've been doing this. They're right there on the drive. You pass it all the time. You see it when you leave Ramrod, you know, and, yes, I leave Ramrod sometimes. You know, and it's just like, come on, there's better ways to do it. You know, if you're not going to be sanitary, don't have a restaurant. Just don't have it. You're putting other people's lives in jeopardy as well and having people get sick over, man, you know, clean up.
Right.
Jay's like, I'm never going to eat there. I just don't want to talk about it. I might never have a wing again after this story, so I'm just going to stay quiet.
I've got wings to fly. Wing. Well, that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your family and friends. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
Yes, and on behalf of these incredible anchors, which, by the way, I just told Adrianna I'm going to take her to Wilton Wings for dinner tonight. I sent her a paper saying that. She's not happy about that. On behalf of the beautiful Adrianna Tender, Edward Otto Zielke, Jamaal Starks, and Dale Stine, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night. Buenas noches.